Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. In this video today, we need to talk about a big problem in competitive League of Legends right now, specifically in the West. Obviously, I don't follow Eastern League of Legends as close, so I don't know it as much. I know this problem definitely exists in the LEC as well, but it really exists on in the LCS on a lot of different fronts. And this is a story that recently came up with FlyQuest promoting their new, I think it was their Academy top laner to the LCS, this being Philip. A lot of people had never really heard of him before. He wasn't, super hyped up prospect. You hadn't really heard of him from Academy or Amateur or anything like that. But whatever, he got called up and we were gonna have to see how that goes. And this is all to be said. Obviously in this video, a couple things. One, I like the LCS a lot. I'm a big fan of the LCS. I want to see it succeed going forward in the future. I don't want the LCS to struggle or anything bad for it or anything like that. Everything I'm saying is coming from a place of wanting the LCS to do better, wanting the League of Legends esports ecosystem to be better for the players, the fans, everyone, so this thing can continue to grow and flourish and hopefully be a massive thing 5-10 years from now. Obviously it's already pretty big and successful, but we want it to keep getting better and better. And of course, I'm not trying to flame Philip or anything like that in this video. I mean, yes, he's gonna get flamed a little bit, but the point of the video isn't to be like, oh, haha, Philip, you suck, nothing like that. It's to say, just kind of give context to a big issue going on right now. So this is the tweet that I had tweeted out yesterday. Got some kind of mixed results on Twitter. Obviously, I got 12 likes, and honestly, it's pretty decent for me. Anything 10 likes or above, seems to be a fairly popular tweet. I don't know. I have like 1,800 followers, but I tweet a lot, so I don't know. Whatever. I tweeted out, Philip has a starting LCS bot before Tenacity. Our systems are broken. And I got a couple of replies. I know Michael replied, a couple of people replied to his tweet as well. And I thought this was kind of weird, their responses, because their responses were stuff like this. Hey, remember, Tenacity chose to extend his contract with 100 Thieves. He knew this was a possibility. And, I thought that was fine. I responded to Michael. He started to get, a little bit, I don't know, like offended or personal or whatever. I don't know. He started saying some weird things. But the point being, I'm not saying that Tenacity, my issue with this whole thing isn't that, oh, Tenacity absolutely needs a starting spot. I can't believe no team offered him a starting spot or gave him a starting spot or whatever. Tenacity had starting offers from other LCS teams, 100%. I don't know whether it was, CLG. Obviously, it seems like FlyQuest was a very real possibility. It could have been Immortals. It could have been many of these bottom LCS teams. Kenvi was a guy who was in a similar situation last year, and we heard with Kenvi was like trying to get on a top 5 LCS team. Otherwise, he would have stayed with 100 Thieves Academy. And it's fine. If that's what the players want to do, whatever, so be it. Obviously, Tenacity got a chance to be part of a 6-man roster and rotation last year. He didn't end up winning the spot. Obviously, Someday played much better this season than he did last year. And now we just go through another year of Tenacity, despite being one of the top prospects in the LCS, a region that desperately needs good young players for our future and for our right now. Obviously, LCS hasn't been that good recently. We haven't had amazing World results. We haven't had amazing MSI results. We haven't been doing very much good stuff. The number of NA players is going down and down. The number of top NA talent seems to be going down and down. But again, we have guys like Tenacity. We have guys like Kenvi, and they're not able to make it into the league. And again, I think my whole point was just kind of like misconstrued or misunderstood here. My point is that the systems of the LCS or the LEC or whatever should be such that your top players and the best players are the ones playing in the LCS. Now, why is Tenacity not in the LCS right now? It's for a couple of reasons. One, he's obviously on 100 Thieves Academy, and for him to go to another team, he has reportedly a pretty decently sized buyout from 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves wants to get some good money. If they're going to give up one of the best prospects in the LCS, they're going to want some big money. And that's a barrier to a lot of these bottom teams. A lot of these bottom teams aren't willing to spend huge numbers in terms of salaries or in terms of buyout. So you're going to have to, buy him out. And then if he ends up being good, you're going to have to pay him a decent salary as well. And does CLG, does FlyQuest, does Immortals want to do that? Doesn't really seem like it. Obviously, they haven't been spending a ton on their rosters as of late. What are big? Obviously, Immortals has maybe been doing a little more. Obviously, Immortals picks up Kenvi. Immortals, Power of Evil's not cheap. Ignar's not cheap. But some of these other teams, they're not really willing to spend. Especially some of it's because of COVID. Some of it's because of the economics of the LCS. A lot of different things going on. But there's a clear discrepancy between the spending of the top 5 and the spending of the bottom 5. And again, another way that these issues are going to keep popping up is teams like 100 Thieves. They have more money, they spend more money, they're willing to spend more money, so they're going to end up with really good LCS players. and they're also going to end up with really good academy players. You see it with 100 Thieves. They have had Tenacity, they have had Kenvi, right now they have Busio, another really, really highly coveted prospect, and these players are going to keep getting stuck behind the 100 Thieves LCS team, who's always going to be good, who should usually be pretty good. Then their academy team should be pretty good. Their amateur team has Sniper, and they have some other players. They have Sword. They're going to be pretty good. And you're going to get this whole backlog of talent. And then you see, like, oh yeah, FlyQuest, they, have not so great LCS team, middle of the pack. They have not so great academy players. They end up in a spot where Philip needs to end up getting called up to the LCS because they, either aren't willing or aren't able to buy out Tenacity, or Tenacity just doesn't want to go to them because they are these teams that don't spend money, don't have good infrastructure, don't have good coaching stats, and going to one of these teams could literally be career suicide. And it puts you in this weird spot where, do I risk staying with 100 Thieves and staying in academy and never getting a chance to play, or do I go to one of these bad teams and potentially ruin my whole career? A guy like Jenkins last year, he was he got to play with Team Liquid some when Alfari was having some issues. He looked decent with Team Liquid at some times, so he takes a chance by going and signing with CLG, and now a split later, he's out of the LCS, and who knows when Jenkins is going to get another chance. Now, you could just say, hey, Jenkins wasn't very good, and yes, that's very, very possible, but again, when you're on a team like CLG and they're not very good, it's going to make everyone look worse, and they have worse coaching staff and worse infrastructure, and they're spending less money, they're doing a lot of these things. It doesn't put you in situations to succeed, especially in a team game like League of Legends, where if you're on a better team, you have a better chance of looking better. You're on a worse team, you have a better chance of looking worse. Look at a guy like Power of Evil. When he was on TSM, he was a top 3 mid laner. He, was one game away from going to Worlds. All of a sudden, he goes to Immortals, and now he sucks. Now he's terrible. Now he's a bottom 5 mid laner. Like, no, he's just on a worse team. And yes, there are things to be critical about Power of Evil or whatever, but this is kind of interesting because, when you look at Philip's stats, they put these up on, the broadcast. In Academy, he had a 2.0 KDA, 49.3% kill participation. This is like a weak side top laner, kind of tank style player. 49.3% kill participation. That's abysmal. That is very, very bad. Average CSD at 15, minus 11. Win rate, 47.8%. I don't know how that's relevant to him, but it's clear that this guy was not a standout in Academy, and these are the players that are getting promoted up to the LCS. And again, it's not like a ton of terrible players are getting promoted up to the LCS. And I'm not even saying Philip is terrible, but I'm saying Philip was not the best prospect available, and it's because the systems in place are so bad. We do not have systems that promote getting our best players and best talent up to the LCS in an effective and meaningful manner. And again, look at major sports leagues. NBA, NFL, MLB, they have a draft where, your worst players, they're going to go to bad teams. But for the most part, those bad teams are encouraged to spend some amounts of money and have good infrastructure. And they all have, decent enough coaches. Obviously, there's better and worse places to go. And then you have, like soccer, they don't have a draft, but they have a loan system where, yes, the best teams are able to buy up all the good players, but they're able to loan their good young players out to other teams so they still get to play. No other competitive scenes have what League of Legends has going on right now, where their best players are not playing in the best leagues, because the best players in the best leagues are good for everybody. It's good for fans. It's good for the players. They get to practice and play against the best players. That levels you up. That makes you better. The LCS would be way better right now if Tenacity was in the LCS over a guy like Philip. If Kenvi was in the LCS over some of the other junglers in the LCS. If Busio was in the LCS over some of the supports in the LCS. And it's not only just this, you also see this issue going on for the top players. We just went through a split where Jensen was not playing competitive League of Legends, where Niski was not playing competitive League of Legends. Right now, we have Self-Made not playing competitive League of Legends. We have Reckless playing in the ERLs. These are issues for the LEC and LCS right now, and I thought this was all very, very interesting at a time where we just saw this interview come out for Niski, where Niski said why he struggled to find his team for the LEC Spring Split. I also think some of the teams in the LEC are not really there to win, and I think that makes it harder because there are just fewer teams that a player can pick from. I think that's a real issue in Europe. Again, this is absolutely an issue in the LCS as well. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know necessarily how to fix this. I think the way to fix this is to, hope that the bottom teams become more competent and force them. This is a conversation that keeps going on in the LEC and LCS, that bottom teams are not spending money. They're sitting on LEC and LCS franchise slots. They're spending money not because they don't have it. These are, very rich owners. They're very rich organizations. A lot of them have money, but maybe it's not feasible because of the economics of the LCS and the LEC right now, or they're just choosing not to because their spot has a ton of value and they can just sit on it and they're not forced to or whatever. This is actually, one of the few points that I really agree with Reggie on, how he's been hyper critical of the bottom 5 teams in the LCS, how, a top team in the LCS can spend more money than the bottom 5 teams combined or the bottom 4 teams combined or whatever. And that's pretty disgusting. And it's a shame because, again, it puts these players in these weird positions. A guy like Kenvi has to decide if he wants to sit in 100 Thieves Academy or go to Immortals, where in his very first game, he's going to pick Talia and they're going to pick him Victor mid lane, a double AP, mid-jung combination where you have a jungler and Talia that's all focused around gank setup and being able to explode somebody and wipe him out. And then Victor, a mid laner with absolutely no gank assist potential or whatever. And if that's the split that Kenvi has in store for him, that's going to be really a tough situation for him to, kind of thrive in. So his options were never get to play and just kind of potentially waste away an academy while other junglers take these opportunities, or to go take a suboptimal opportunity and potentially, ruin the future of his career. And that's the systems where we have a guy like Niski not getting to play. That's the systems where we have a guy like Philip ending up in the LCS. That's the systems we have in play where a guy like Tenacity ends up not getting to play. None of this is to say, oh, poor Tenacity, he could have had I can't believe nobody will offer this really great player spot. No, he's been offered spots, and he turned them down, and I understand why. The decision-making matrix is there to where it probably makes sense for Tenacity to not want to go to CLG, for Tenacity to not want to go to Immortals, to not want to go to FlyQuest, and that's the issue. That's the problem. The LCS and the LEC have issues when it makes more sense to not play, like Niski and Jensen, and when it makes sense to stay in the minor leagues than when it does to go to the big leagues. That other sports don't see that. In baseball, guys don't want to stay in the minor leagues. In basketball, guys don't want to stay in the G League or in college. You want to go to the big leagues because it's almost always better. It's not the case in the LCS right now, and that's a problem. And I found it very, very weird that people were arguing with me, against that, or in favor of, some of the bottom tier teams or whatever, or just against Tenacity, one of the top players in the LCS. Very, very strange, but that's just another day in the life. Pretty much over this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this whole topic. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on solutions, or if you even think it's an issue or not. I don't know. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.